Hello and welcome to New Game Plus. I am not anybody else except for me. I am Shane. Who would have thunk it? Everyone else is in Japan, so they had to bring someone else along, which is me. Yes, I'm sorry. But no, we've got a pretty big episode for you today. We've got a very good interview with JustYeliz, one of Australia's famous cosplayer, and we talk about a lot of stuff cosplay. We've also got two big reviews. One's a bit goosey, I think, and the other one's got a lot of guns, and maybe 3 guns, I'm not sure. But no, they're not my guns because they're small. But no, let's go into something completely different.
Hello, welcome to By the Fireside. Now this is a review segment on New Game Plus. It's brand spanking new, just like my living room setup, my authentic living room setup, where I talk about the plus side of things. Obviously we've got some very talented lads and lasses who will talk about video games. I'm talking about some other stuff. Today I'm going to talk about a theatre show playing in Melbourne at the moment called Come From Away. It's been on West End and Broadway and toured around the world, and it is phenomenal. It's about the events of September 11. In a way, it's when that happened, obviously a lot of planes were diverted from America, and 38 of them landed in Gander, which is a small town in Newfoundland. And this is their story of the people who were on the planes and also the townspeople who sort of rallied around to help all these stranded people. It's a story of loss, it's a story of hope, it's a story of a community coming together. And I love those sort of things, those sort of stories. I'm currently watching Friday Night Lights at the moment, which is the sort of small town vibe, and you have that in this. The music is also incredible. The original cast album has been on repeat a lot for me. I've seen the show 3 times now, once on the West End and twice in Melbourne, and I've loved it every time. It's a great sort of intro to theatre if you want to dip your toes in, and I highly recommend it.
Now for the Untitled Goose Game. That's it.
Untitled Goose Game is a wholesome puzzle stealth sandbox game developed by House, a studio located in our very own hometown here in Melbourne, Australia, where you're a goose let loose on an unsuspecting village. House previously launched to success with their PlayStation 4 game Push Me, Pull You in an award-winning local multiplayer game about friendship and wrestling. This title had myself and thousands of gamers out there hooked when they announced at E3 2018 that there was a game where you could simply play as a goose. I hate being bad at games, and neither puzzle or stealth are my go-to genre, yet the cartoon aesthetic left me with a massive fear of FOMO if I didn't at least check this out on my favourite platform, the Switch. As the player, you explore this adorable village filled with gardens, a lake, shops and backyards, not only honking whenever you so please, but setting up pranks, stealing people's things, and annoying the hell out of everyone. The villagers are just minding their own business in a perfectly calm, peaceful town, and you're a cheeky goose that gets up to no good. One thing I'd love to point out right away is how wholesome this game is. Even when the goose irritates a villager, there's never any violence or anger, just adorable frustrations. Their body language is so strong, even without facial expressions. And when I wasn't annoyed at failing a puzzle, I was left giggling at how fantastic the outcomes were of mistakes I'd made. The game throws you right in. As you start exploring, you float in a river like the goose that you are, and all of a sudden, a list of objectives pops up and you're ready to start wreaking havoc. The first few tasks, stealing keys from the groundskeeper or getting him wet, were easy enough. But eventually the puzzles get more complex with elements involved to progress through each location as you manipulate the environment and run to escape being busted by a villager. Timing is everything. Helpful user interface exclamation marks let me know what I was able to engage with, and it was more often than not that every movable object was a playable piece of the puzzle. The suspenseful music really emphasized the stealth element. The developers feature an ambient and often dramatic piano sound that reminds me of when I was making mistakes or close to a high-risk encounter with a villager, which at times became overwhelming or motivated me to keep trying, knowing that I was close to a solution. It really suited the cartoon graphic style and tone of voice of the game. If you're on the fence about playing Untitled Goose Game, do yourself a favor and jump onto Twitter to see the thousands of players going wild with making their own hilarious, wholesome and unique experiences with this game. The game is perfect for playing with friends or even engaging with your favorite streamer on Twitch. I felt like it was designed to be a Switch game, like perfectly, and due to the escapism alone, I can wholeheartedly recommend Untitled Goose Game. Honk!
Want fine crispy duck. So Don, And Megan, did you enjoy
Honk, honk,
the
honk,
Untitled
honk, honk, honk,
No, Goose
honk,
Game? I'm
honk.
getting the honks and the goose. No, wait.
I feel like
What
you've
is it?
encapsulated the game in this exact
Yeah.
moment right here, right now,
no.
by irritating the hell out of Shane.
But no, the game is, I guess, simple is the best way to put it, but just completely fun.
Yeah, but you could almost say that about many games nowadays, like games that go for a very specific thing and executes.
So in other words, indie games.
Yeah, basically.
I get what this discussion is about now. But no, I guess if we want to bring it up as a more broader subject, there's a lot of things that indie games are hidden and missing a lot in the realm of, I guess, video games themselves.
Untitled Goose Game went viral because of its like basic premise and its, I guess, irresistible graphics and wholesome narrative. And I think like indie games as a whole, I guess, really excel at that. And I think what we're going to be talking about today in this discussion is indie games as a whole and where the future of it's going, and the eShop for Nintendo specifically, and how there's just so much out there that it's even hard to navigate due to lack of curation, lack of categorization and reviews to filter, lack of, I guess, like the structure on that platform itself.
Like Nintendo got ambitious in wanting to, I think this was around last year when they said they want 30 new things each week on the eStore, except there is, like I did it on the level on this last year actually, except there is no manual curate, or very little manual curation. Like you kind of just have to hope that you stumble upon the sort of log line that looks decent, or you have to rely on other people. Otherwise, games do have a possibility of just drowning.
Or you know what you could rely on? You could rely on review shows like New Game Plus TV that we're on
Like, comment, and
YouTube.
subscribe.
Yeah, no, but honestly, that is the main, I guess, fault that we're seeing, or even curse that we're seeing for the eStore, and not even just like Nintendo, we're seeing it on across Steam.
The floodgates is bad because what's going to make your game visible is extremely difficult nowadays. But on the other hand, like opening the floodgates has allowed basically, if you have a particular interest in a game or a game genre, then your needs are very much catered to, because there is like every niche is basically delivered, and we sort of seen that no more evident than in the dating simulator genre. As in, the dating simulator genre has exploded for one, and we're getting these hyper specific dating sims as well.
Like Colonel Sanders from KFC.
Yeah, that's the fact that that's official from KFC kind of makes it kind of gross as well.
I think we're more seeing innovation, even more visibly actually, is in the VR section.
Yeah.
There's not that many big companies that are actually sending out VR. Probably the biggest thing we've got at the moment is, Beat Saber, but a lot of the other small games, we're seeing so much more innovation and different styles in VR games that I don't think we're getting anywhere else.
Yeah.
And
On that point, actually, that's a really good point. I think apparently in the next couple of years, they're projecting the Australian VR category in Australia. It's going to be a $110 billion industry by 2020. And I think gaming really helps the emerging evolution for other non-gaming uses of VR and AR. And I think that's why we're seeing such investment from bigger brands and bigger companies that are seeing people do great things with it so far in the indie space.
so VR's the next big thing.
That's it.
Yep, I've got my VR set headset. Do you, Shane?
I'll just watch it play. Hey guys, my name is Megs, and as part of my interview series I've been working on New Game Plus to learn more about the Australian video games industry and everything that comes with it, I like to highlight people that are working on the grassroots level in different categories of the industry and showcase what they're doing that's working and improving the ecosystem and supporting people and making our industry grow here in Australia. And with me in the New Game Plus studio on these fine leather couches, I have here is JustYeliz. And the reason why JustYeliz is here today with me for an interview is because JustYeliz is a specialist in the cosplay industry. And she's come from the ground up and risen above the ranks and really made a brand for herself out in the scene. And I want to know, and I want to tell everyone out there watching this about what the cosplay scene is actually like and how she got to where she is today. So welcome and thanks so much for being here.
Thank you so much for having me. Before we start, I just want to congratulate you on everything that you've achieved and everything in your personal life and your work life. And I know you're super inspirational, so I'm so excited to be here.
We got to work hard and play harder. So I feel like that's the vibe I give off. Yeah, but right back at you.
Thank you.
I would love to know, because Liz and I have known each other for a really long time, and we've seen each other at 1,000 different events and conventions, I suppose. And I want to know, how did it all begin? Where did your love of gaming come first, or was it cosplay that came first?
Okay, so funny thing, I knew nothing about cosplay, like at all. And video games was where it all started for me, because I used to play video games since I was very young. Because my dad was a gamer and he was heavily into like technology and stuff, so we always had everything.
That's where it begins.
Yeah, it did. So back in 2013, I went to my first Comic-Con, and I just, you know, it was the first time I ever saw people in outfits. And I'm just looking around, I'm just like, this is weird.
Yeah.
But I like it.
Yeah.
You know, so edgy. Majority of the characters I didn't know, because I think they were anime at the time, and I wasn't heavily into anime at that time because of gaming. And I think Assassin's Creed 3 was where it all happened, in a sense where I think late 2012 Assassin's Creed 3 came out. So in 2013, when I'd gone to my first Comic-Con, I saw someone dressed up as Connor Kenway. Yes.
Amazing.
And you know, I'm just like, whoa, that's cool.
Yeah.
And I just stopped there, and I was in awe of this person in this outfit, and I'm just like,
they're killing it, they're slaying it.
oh, absolutely.
Was it like the detail or the quality, or just
it was just the fact that Connor Kenway was in front of me. You know, Sammy?
Yeah.
It was so exciting.
Gotta get in that.
So what my weird brain did was, I was checking him out, and I was just like, dude, if that was me, I would have done this, I would have changed that, I would have done this, I would have my hair like that, my hood would be like more like this. You know, not that his costume was bad or anything, but I just literally envisioned myself in that outfit. And, you know, instead of admiring people doing it, I'm just like, you know what, it's about time I give this a go, because it's edgy and it's kind of like me.
Do you feel like you really relate and engage with cosplay because it gives you an identity, or you hide behind something, or it makes you feel confident? Like, what is it about it once you're in that outfit that you worked so bloody hard to build and create, and it's perfect and you love it? What is that next step for you?
So basically, I feel like the only way I can really express my love for the characters that I dress up as is to put in work and create and become. There's only so much I can say, oh, media, man, this game. It's not enough. I need more, you know? So the moment I discovered that, you know, I can learn how to make an outfit, and I know how to, because my style is more gender bend. I like to turn male characters to female versions. Not only because I feel like male characters are cooler, but I feel like they're taken a little bit more seriously, in a sense where they're not, you know, like a fully armored male will be like, do, 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 do.
Yeah,
armor,
that's it.
dope. Yeah. A chick, do, do. Just stomach exposed. It looks great.
The sound
Don't
effects
get me.
are like absolutely perfectly visual.
Stop it. I'm very expressive. So 2015 Mortal Kombat 10.
Okay.
MKX released, and I made a cosplay of Scorpion, and the photo went a little bit viral. NetherRealm Studios got in touch with me, and they asked, you know, like, we're doing the Mortal Kombat, you know, crypt, and we want to put you as an unlockable artwork in the crypt of Mortal Kombat X.
Insane.
And it was actually
What is life?
my first handcrafted, completely by me, everything by me cosplay, and that's what made me hungry, man. You know what I mean? I'm just like, dude, if cosplay can give me this, why should I stop?
Correct.
You know,
So
it was exciting.
that's the moment that you realize, you're like, hey, I'm actually killing it, and this is really fun, and I'm loving it, and it makes me feel happy in the soul.
Absolutely. If this is what I get, if this is what I get for my craft, then you know, it just makes me want to do more and get better every single time.
Do you work on things that your fans want to see, or is it just for you?
No.
Yeah.
No.
What's your attitude towards that?
Well, like I said, it's my passion, it's my expression, and I'm never a crowd pleaser. Don't need to be, man. I don't need to be a crowd pleaser. You know, I have very particular taste in what I want to go for and what characters I like. And like, you know, I'm not going to dress up as a character that I don't know, because what if someone questions me about what I'm dressed up as? I'm not going to be like, I like, because I don't know, you know, like I want to be able to know what I'm doing. I want to be able to express my love. And like I said, I make cosplays to express myself.
What would you say to people that are really passionate about cosplay but want to get to the next level and, I guess, get from a convention level to being flown to UB Experience, international conventions, things like that, to showcase professional cosplays? What would you say to them to get them rolling?
Honestly, be yourself. Don't try and be something you're not, because you're probably going to forget what you're doing, and you're not going to be true to yourself or others, and it's not healthy. And just practice makes perfect. Don't give up. You know, I feel like I'm only at 40% of my potential. Honestly, I feel like every time I look at something, obviously everyone is going to be their own worst critique. You know, so I'm never satisfied with my work. The responses I get, God damn it, amazing.
Yeah.
But it's like, why can't I see that? I just want more.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And just thrive, bro. The moment you don't have passion, get out.
Yeah.
Get
I completely
out.
relate. I love that 40% thing. I also feel the same. So watch this space, New Game Plus.
Hey.
But finally, for what's next for you, Yeliz? Where can people follow you and see your journey? And have you got anything exciting you want to talk about before we wrap up?
I've got so much going on. I can't mention at the moment
No, it's so
because
fine.
that's not confirmed.
No, it's great.
But it's just exciting.
Congratulations.
It's beautiful,
Many
and
events.
you know, I can't wait to just pursue my passion.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, I'm so happy, and it is the best thing that's ever happened to me because it brings me, you know, with people like you, and I get to meet, you know, people who support me, and it's just so
Thanks.
it's so lovely. No, honestly,
Yeah, for sure.
I'm not being a suck. I really appreciate it's the people, man.
Yes,
it's the
it
people
is,
that
isn't it?
make everything. Dude, there are cosplayers, there are talented people everywhere. Who cares? Who cares? At the end of the day, it's not the cosplay you're selling, bro. It's you.
Yep.
Everyone can dress up as the same character that you dressed up as.
Agreed.
And that's not getting you nowhere, man. It's just some people gonna look at you. They're just gonna look at you.
Yep.
What are they gonna remember? You.
Agreed.
Straight up.
That's it.
Straight up. And that's it.
Thanks, Yeliz.
No, of course.
Yeliz's Instagram and Twitter and everything is at JustYeliz.
Correct.
Thanks so much for being here on the New Game Plus Studios set and taking time out to interview me and talk about cosplay and everything that comes along with it. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did.
Thank you. I loved it. Thank you guys for having me so
Thanks so
much.
much.
And now we've got done with Borderlands 3.
Borderlands 2 was released towards the end of 2012. For most people who played and loved that game, its early loot shooting mechanics and referential sense of humour made it a time capsule to look back fondly on. Gearbox Software must have recognised this because Borderlands 3 feels straight out of that period, for better or worse. That isn't to say there aren't quality of life changes here. You can now refill your ammo at a vending machine with a single button, you can mantle up objects which bring some verticality to combat, and you can pick and choose between skill tree perks to really customize your character. But at the end of the day, you're still running around shooting psychos and monsters to get bigger guns, so you can shoot bigger psychos and monsters, so you can get even bigger guns, and so on and so forth. It's a gameplay loop that has been left relatively untouched, and one that Borderlands 3 still manages to deliver effectively. Take away that loot treadmill though, and the nostalgic throwback starts to look worse for wear. The menus are archaic and cumbersome to navigate. The quest design is repetitive and uninspired, and oddly, the game restricts your ammo capacity until you can afford storage upgrades, which means for the first 10 or so hours, you'll regularly find yourself running out of bullets. And running around a boss arena waiting for ammo boxes to refill only adds to the repetitive feel of missions. And then there's the game's comedy. Borderlands 2 had a particularly juvenile, internet-centric sense of humour, and Borderlands 3 firmly maintains that tone. Now, maybe it's because I'm older, or maybe because meme technology has evolved, but the jokes here feel incredibly dated. Dude bros, dubstep, dangly parts, Borderlands 3 is all over the hot button topics of 2012. Even if you do vibe with this game's humour, it still overestimates how much you care about its writing. The story and characters are flat and forgettable, made even worse by the fact that you cannot skip cutscenes and dialogue, even in repeat playthroughs. And boy, oh boy, do the NPCs crap on in this game. In one side quest of zero consequence, featuring an NPC I would never see again, I had to sit through literally 2 minutes and 15 seconds of pointless jabbering before I could move on with the mission. Gearbox, please. Borderlands 3 left me frustrated. Even with a solid gameplay core, I could not overlook the game's archaic quest design or its terrible, terrible writing. But I also recognize that for many of you, these flaws don't matter. And for those of you still wanting a throwback loot shooter without the modern day trappings, it at least delivers in that regard. Playing Borderlands 3 is like returning to your parents' home after many years and finding that they've left your bedroom completely untouched. Some of you will find it comforting, others will wince at the bad luck Brian posters hanging on the walls.
So same but different, Don?
It is very much, and I am so pleased with myself that I managed to not use this phrase during the review. It's Borderlands.
I thought it was
TM.
Borderlands? No.
Yeah, that's also this game, for better or worse, because like I said in the review, like it's a game that's harkening back to the good old days of Borderlands 2, Borderlands 1, all the sort of happy memories you have in there. Oh my God, like the writing was so great, the guns were so good. What if we keep this? Gearbox clearly thought, let's just stick to that, and it turns out that it didn't date that well.
Well, like, it hasn't learned a lot of the lessons that a lot of other games did, in
No,
the sense
like-
that, like, what, Destiny 2, Destiny 1 is a game as a service. This is very much not a game as a service.
No, and I kind of glad that that they didn't go for the games as a service, because we have got plenty of looter shooters games as services out there. Like I've got a Division 2 account that's just gathering dust there. And we are coming up to knocking on the door of Destiny 2 Shadowkeep as well. So Borderlands probably did best by sort of paving its own path and not going and not being games as a service. But at the same time, like, it could have taken something from those games.
It did take like the almost instantaneous like join of a player's party slash thing.
And thank you for joining my game, Shane.
I just forced it in. I mean, no, changing the phrasing. It's one of those things that, it didn't learn its lessons from other games, but it very much wanted to stick to its core audience, but not actually aging with its core audience.
No, like back then, like Borderlands 2 probably had a very specific demographic it was aiming for. 15-year-old teenage boy who loves the internet. Great, that worked back then. The internet is a horrible place now, so that angle has sort of aged very poorly. And then at the same time, it kind of feels like it's either trying to aim for a new generation of 15-year-old teenage boys, but then it discounts the people that looked fondly on Borderlands 2 that want to play this as that sort of comfort food game. And as a result, it just ends up, like I adored Borderlands 1, Borderlands 2, Borderlands 3 I just shrivel at.
Yeah, I'll be honest, I skipped a lot of like the story stuff, but that's the thing. They bring in a lot of characters back from the older games. You've got Lilith as probably one of your main characters that's not a playable character.
Remember Zero? I remember Zero.
I remember Zero too, and also Maya and those other people, but actually I don't remember those other people, but I only played Zero in number 2. But it was the problem that if you're introducing those characters, but you're trying to aim for a new audience, you then kind of lose that kind of almost character interaction that you had previously. That said, is there that much character to the characters? They're very much one-faced anyway.
Yeah, like other to Zero, he's got multiple modes and all that. But it's interesting that the Borderlands 3 comes out now, given that a month ago we've got another game that tried to harken back to the good old days, World of Warcraft Classic. Shane, you've been playing some of that, as I understand, and like, is it more successful at that particular objective?
It's definitely more successful in throwing back to, I guess, the good old days, because they bring back literally everything. They bring back even the bugs of the old stuff, and people still kind of want that kind of old, rose-tinted glasses kind of look back.
Is it enjoyable to play through 2006 Warcraft?
Is gaming enjoyable when you're wanting to get to level 60, but like it's just, PvP getting killed instantly by, a rogue or something that, just backstabs you?
Good old days.
Yeah, the good old days. But no, it's not exactly about fun, because like even the PvE stuff, you don't really want to fight more than 2 or 3 monsters if you're just by yourself, and it's like there's that still old difficulty that WoW Classic has that I don't think many games have these days, except maybe there was that one boss in Borderlands 3 that I actually had to invite you and who was it? Oh, it was the Porky. So
you're welcome.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, well, next time I'll just join into your game. just get in there. But no, Don, thank you very much for coming. I guess we should probably start wrapping up the show, because we're at the time where, I have to get off this chair, because I'm not the main host of the show. But they'll probably be back next week, because Jason and the crew are all the way back from Japan. Thank you guys very much for watching. Follow us on Twitch, Facebook, not New Game Plus, that is what we are. On Twitter, on Facebook, on Twitter. No, what have I missed, Don?
You missed out on our Pinterest, you missed out on our line. We are at New Game Plus TV. That is New Game Plus TV, one word, no spaces.
Thank you very much, Don. Thank you very much, guys, for watching, and I'll maybe not be back and hopefully escaping from this show. Bye!